Hello, my name's Larseth, and welcome to Europa Universalis IV. Today we're going to have a quick look around the world, or the game, I suppose, in which I got my Sons of Carthage achievement, which, if you don't know, is where you start as Tunis, and you have to own all of the previous Carthaginian cores, which essentially boils down to Sicily, and Malta, down here, Corsica, Sardinia, Balearic Islands, and the south of the Iberian Peninsula. So I thought that, I mean, this is a relatively difficult achievement. I mean, it can very much depend on luck, this one. I mean, sometimes Castile, Spain, and Aragon just get stomped. It can make it a little bit easier. For me, wasn't too bad, actually. I mean, it took me about 10 times to restart, something like that. Most of those, you know, restarting pretty quickly, because Castile decides that it likes the look of North Africa and just, you know, try steamrolling you. This one I thought was almost going to be a restart, because Castile got a personal union over Aragon and, you know, Naples and stuff like that, which isn't unsurprising. But what is surprising is that they also got a personal union over Germany. Not Germany, sorry, Austria, as you can see the remains of here, which it's now been integrated. That made it a little, well, I was sort of a little bit scared for a while that I'd have to repeat and restart it all, but, you know, hey-ho. Right, so for strategy-wise, I mean, Tunis, you start off in a, you know, relatively nice position. I went straight to war with Tlemcen, however you pronounce it, and vassalized them, which is, you know, very straightforward. Sometimes Morocco will jump in and try and opportunistically take a few provinces. That could be a bit of a pain, as, you know, you don't have a huge amount of manpower to start off with. But that only happened in about 1 or 2 of my playthroughs when I was trying. So I vassalized that's a real tongue twister. I have no idea why I can't get that right. So I vassalized them, and then moved on to the small, well, it's Mazab, Tugor, and there's somebody else here. I can't remember who it is. But I took some of the lower, some of the provinces here and vassalized the remainder. Fazan, who owns these 3, well, they normally get sucked up by the Mamluks in a diplo-vassalization. So after, I mean, this will take you a good few years to consolidate most of this. I started vassalizing, annexing, sorry, Tlemcen as fast as I could. They were the first one I did after I had vassalized them for 10 years. So I fabricated claims here, and then basically used the Ottomans to bully the Mamluks, so I could take these provinces and start colonization down to Central Africa. As you can see, my first idea was expansion, which I eventually, you know, took exploration as well. As you could see, I've got quite a few overseas provinces. I mean, most of these, you know, were entirely unnecessary, but I mean, I had quite a lot of money, so I didn't need to worry about costs for colonists, so I just started throwing them out left, right, and centre. I mean, most of this down here was mainly to stop the big colonizers, France, Great Britain, Spain, Portugal, from getting round into the West Indies. That can cut off quite a large amount of money, essentially ducats, from them, and just helps. I mean, I was very fortunate also in this run in that the well, South Africa didn't really, South America, sorry, didn't really work for either Portugal or Spain, as they lost pretty much all of their colonial nations to independence. So after I'd opened this up and started colonizing down here, I switched my attention to Morocco, who at the time were getting beaten on by Portugal, as they tend to do. So I mean, luckily the AI isn't very good at amphibious landings, so it was relatively easy to kick Portugal's meager army from North Africa and return all of Morocco's course to them, and then annex them. In the meanwhile, just as I was sort of ramping up my ideas and westernizing, I pushed my way along here, made sure I got Alexandria, because it's a very, very, very good trade port. Actually makes a fair amount of ducats on its own, even without trade anyway. I'd like to have gotten more of this area, but I didn't want to annoy the Ottomans too much. They were my only real ally. As you can see, I got Hejaz and Mali, which I used as sort of my battering ram in Central Africa. But other than that, no allies to speak of. Brazil's a very recent addition, and that was more just for fun than anything. So down here, I started chewing up provinces and just expanding for fun, essentially. As I mentioned before, Spain had already had a personal union over Austria, so I was essentially biding my time and waiting. One, to see if they broke free, and if not, see if anyone else could break them. And in the end, I was lucky in the sense that Corsica and Sardinia, and also, no, it was Corsica and Sardinia, were made independent from Genoa and Aragon, respectively, and the remainder all belonged to Castile after they'd integrated Aragon and Aragon down here as well. So once I'd built up all of my sort of military power, and I'd developed some provinces and got offensive and quality ideas, which are very, very important, I felt, just because otherwise you don't stand, even after westernization, you don't stand a chance against the European powers without ideas like offensive and quality. I mean, my next one probably would be quantity, because my force limit still leaves a lot to be desired in comparison to some of the other countries. What else? I suppose I should probably... Let's have a look at the economy. So, I mean, you make most of your money from taxation pretty much all the way from the start to the end of the game, so that's what I focused on. I mean, the production's only gone up so much purely because there's quite a few gold provinces, as I'm sure you know, in Africa, or Central Africa, and there's quite a few down here. I could have expanded up here where there's a few more, but I just couldn't be bothered, to be honest. I was too busy focusing down here. Might have made it a bit easier and a bit quicker for me, but there we go. Trade can be a bit of a pain. Because you want the Ottomans to be strong, because you need a strong ally to help in Europe, they also drag a huge amount of trade up to Constantinople, and also to Ragusa, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, so most of their stuff's going to Constantinople from Aleppo, Alexandria, Crimea, and you can see very, very little of their money is actually getting out anywhere. So it doesn't leave you with a lot of options trade-wise. I mean, fortunately, once I managed to get hold of a lot of the sort of lower Spanish peninsula, that increases your trade quite a lot because of the Sevilla node being an end node. At least I believe it's an end node. Oh no, it goes on to the Genoa one. My mistake. But yeah, this there's a lot of opportunities for this to go wrong. This campaign, because you can have Castile and Portugal may just go ham and decide they want to just wreck you, and there's very little you could do, because often the Ottomans, they'll just go, nah mate, you handle it, you're fine, and they won't make it much further than sort of your capital unless they've got a land route, which they now do. So you sort of have to fend for yourself, which is why the military ideas are so important. I could have snapped up Mali as well, but I just sort of kept them around for fun. They also, were useful at picking up any small armies that Castile or Portugal or Spain or whatever produced down here. So it left me more to focus up here. The opportunity I had came, as I say, I picked these up because they both, Corsica and Sardinia, both became independent. The others I had to take directly off Castile over, I believe it was 3 wars. And both of these wars were sort of, I took advantage of a situation where they were being embroiled in another war. So I think one of them was involved in a war that Milan started. I think it was a conquest war up here somewhere. And Milan are allies with, they were allies with France. And Naples for a while, and they dragged Castile in and Spain and gave them a bit of a beating. And then I jumped in then, got hold of Sicily and the Balearic Isles, and then in the remaining 2 wars, which essentially took part of this each, I started and I hoped, and I was right, fortunately, that France would join in afterwards and take back some of the cores which Spain had. I think they had Armagnac, Narbonne, and a few other sort of cores of France's. So they jumped in and helped kick Castile to ribbons, and I took advantage of that and took some land off them. All in all, I mean, it's not too bad of an achievement to do. It's one of those ones you sort of practice, and you have sort of a game plan, you stick to it, and then you come out of it, feeling quite proud of yourself. Because I think it's listed under one of the hard achievements. But I mean, it was definitely fun. It's a different. I've never played any of the North African nations before, and I've never dabbled in Africa apart from as a colonial nation. Actually, no, that's a lie. I played as Timbuktu once, and got that achievement. But, it is fun, so I definitely recommend it. If you have any sort of questions, feel free to let me know, ask in the comments below. As you can see, you could probably minus about 70 years off this, maybe. 50, 60, 70 years off there, because I continued playing after I'd got the achievement to complete a few other achievements, such as the provinces on every single continent achievement, and a few other little minor ones I was waiting on. But that is about it. I'll give you a whiz through some of my journal, just so you can have a look at some of the various stats. Inflation's a bit of a pain in the ass, what with all the gold provinces you pick up, but there we go. It doesn't really have much consequence, to be honest. Technology, it was pretty easy to keep up. I was pretty much keeping up all the way up until the point I decided I wanted to westernize, and forcibly made myself sit behind. So, tech was pretty easy. I focused on military tech, as you can see, most of the time, because that's what you sort of really need to stand toe-to-toe with the Europeans. I think I've gone over my ideas again. Economic, I just got mainly for the national tax modifier, and also to help deal with the inflation I was getting from the gold mines, and the land maintenance modifier mainly. Everything else is, just a bonus, especially the development cost reduction. I think if I'd continued, I probably would have gone quantity just to increase my force limit, because it's pretty woeful in comparison to some of the other ones, the other countries. What else we got here? I think that is about it. So thank you very much for watching, and as I said, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them below, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.